Hello guys, welcome to this video on how to deploy a Django website. Deploying a Django website on DigitalOcean Ubuntu Droplet and AWS Ubuntu LightSail is basically the same thing. If you can deploy a website on DigitalOcean Ubuntu Droplet, then you don't have any issue deploying a website on AWS Ubuntu LightSail. So this is my website and this is my website. I'll be showing you guys how you can deploy your Django website. In this video, I'll be using DigitalOcean to deploy my Django application. I provided a guideline for you guys on how you can deploy your website with ease. You can head over to my website and check out how you can deploy your Django application. And this is my code. And the website, you can see it running on localhost. So if this is your first time deploying a website, you need to download GIT. And also create account on GitHub. Where you ship your code and get ready for deployment. Download GIT. I already have that installed because I'll be using Git Bash to deploy my website. And already create account on GitHub and ship your code to GitHub, where you'll be using it to clone your code to your Ubuntu server. So the first thing I need to do is I need to push my code to production. I need to push my code to GitHub and get it ready for deployment. So the next step I'll be creating a droplet. You need to get your DigitalOcean account ready. Create a droplet. You need to choose your region, the region close to you. Let me choose this. Ubuntu. Choose your container size, basic, regular. The pricing is $6 per month. Then choose your authentication method. I'll be going with password. The name of your container. wait for the droplet to be done creating. We're done. I'll copy this IP address because I'll be using this IP address to SSH in the container. I'll be using the IP address to SSH into the server. Copy that. The next step, open my Git bash. SSH. The IP address is that. That's the correct command. In. So the next step, I will be updating the server. It's sudo apt update. The next step, sudo apt upgrade. Waiting for the container to be done upgrading. You need to get yourself familiar with some few Linux command, because working on Linux machine, you need to understand some Linux commands like creating a file, navigating to folders, deleting folders, deleting files. You need to understand some commands. I'll be explaining most of them in this video. So the next step, I will navigate to the root folder. Yeah, this is the root folder. The root folder. I'll navigate to opt. So this is the folder where my project files in. So the next step, I need to create a folder with the command mkdir, with the project name, that is the folder name. The next step, I'll clone my code from GitHub. This is the code. Copy that. Git clone. The code from GitHub. And this is my Django project files. So the next step, I will install and configure my SQL, because I'll be using my SQL as my database, with the command sudo apt install my SQL server. Next step, I'll start my SQL system ctl start my SQL. So the next step, I will secure my SQL server and remove root user and allowed password with the command sudo MySQL 2. Remove anonymous user. Yes. Disallowed remote login. Yes. Remove test database. Yes. Yes. All done. I need to set password now, because as you can see, I can just log in without password. MySQL, log in without password. That's not good. So I need to set password. This command. That is done. Exit. So the next step, I'll check the status of my SQL to check if my SQL server is active and running with system CTL status my SQL dot service. My SQL is active and running. The next step, I'll be creating a database. I'll try to log in. As you can see, I will not be able to log in. Asking for password and the right command. MySQL sudo MySQL the password. I need to copy this password. Let's copy this. Copy and keep it in the notepad. Keep it there for now. So I'll be creating a database with the command create database name. MySQL is ready. So the next step, I will be trying to configure my Django project. I will install few packages. I will install these. I'm installing Python 3, VMV, Python 3 Dev, and Nginx. In production, Django doesn't serve static file, so you need Nginx to serve static files for you. Copy this. So IP address, we see Nginx to display. You can see that. Head back. So the next step, I'll be creating a virtual environment. I'll create a virtual environment in a .env file. Because I don't want that to interfere with my other folders. So the next step, I need to install my Django packages, the packages I used in the project. Packages and requirement.txt, rig.txt. Seeing the file is corrupt. So since the file is corrupt, I will delete this, create another file with rm.txt, deleted, create new file with command touch. Save. And then install with the command install having issue with my SQL. I need to install this first before I install my SQL. If you don't install this first, you will spend a lot of hours looking for the error. Just need to install this first. I need to set up my database name, touch.env. I'll create .env file with the command touch.env. Nano, I'll open the file .env. Database password. Save. Need to install this module. Run migrations. Python manage .py migrate. Create a super user. So the next step, I need to collect static with the command Python manage .py static. static file. You need to configure the static file in your settings. You need to configure static files here. If you are new to Django, there are chances that how your project is arranged will be different from mine. As you can see, the settings of py file is supposed to be here, but I'm having config file instead because I arrange my settings into build.py, looker.py, and production.py. But yours might be different. There's no difference. You don't need to worry about that. Just follow the video and everything will be alright. I need to add the IP address to allowed host. Copy this, return back here. I'll add it here too. And this is our website. Still running on localhost even though we're in production. Because in production, Django doesn't run on manage.py, but on WSGI because I'll be using Unicorn. So I need to install Unicorn. Install Unicorn. Yes, Unicorn install. And I'll be testing my Unicorn. Test. Feed WSGI. You look for the path to your WSGI. The path to my WSGI is config.wsgi. You see that? Config WSGI is the config folder. So I have to copy this and change it because it's in the config folder. Paste. Config and Unicorn is running. Turn back to the website IP address. Don't need to run on this to remove this like this. Server error. What is the cause of the error? And this is our website. So I'll continue with the configuration. Since Unicorn was able to serve our website without any error, The next step, I'll configure Unicorn. Unicorn socket. Copy this. Paste. Save. Next step, configure Unicorn service. This way you need to be careful because you need to get the path your file is correct. Environment path. Working directory. To get this one correct too. Copy this. Paste in Unicorn service file. Start and enable Unicorn. Verify if Unicorn is running without any error. Unicorn is active and listening. No error detected. Let's continue with the configuration. Error 400 requests because localhost, and there's no localhost in my production.py. There's no localhost. There's no localhost here. That's why the error. Because my unicorn is using the production.py. I use the looker.py on my localhost production.py in the production environment. That's why the error. There's no localhost in production.py. You can see that no localhost. It's trying to access localhost in my production.py, but there's no localhost in allowed host. I don't need to add that in my production.py, so I'll continue with the configuration. But if you have any error, you can check the logs to check the cause of your error. Restart if changes are made. So the next step, I'll configure Nginx to serve my static file and my website. Configure Nginx. Need to be careful with this, because if you don't get the file path correct, your website will have an issue and a lot of nightmare debugging. Change this to the IP address. Change this to the IP address. Media. No media file yet, but the media folder is supposed to be in this directory. Media file. test. Successful. Okay. Let's test our IP address to check if our website is active. You can see successfully deployed our website with IP address. That is all how you can deploy your website. The next step, if you have already bought a domain name, like my domain name, the next step, if you have your website name, your domain name ready, log into DigitalOcean and create DNS record. My DNS record need is 1, 2, and 3. Head over to your domain dashboard and change the name server to DigitalOcean 1, 2, and 3. And the DNS record, set the DNS record like this. Then head back to your Nginx and the server name. Mine is sqanalysis.com. sqanalysis. Like that. And save. Nginx file. And also allowed host, change your website name. After that, run this command sudo nginx -t and restart nginx. Check if everything is okay and successful. Check if everything is okay and successful. After that, you can see when you're done, you need to enable set boot for your SSL certificate. You can see not secured. You need SSL certificate for that to be secured like this. Connection is secured. You need set boot for that. Install this and obtain your SSL certificate. Steps how to troubleshoot your website if you have any error. That is basically everything how you can deploy your Django application on DigitalOcean or AWS LightSail. If you have any issue deploying a website, you can get back to me. I'll help you deploy your website or help you troubleshoot your error. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe my video as my channel is new. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching.